Today, I want to talk about all the noise we've been seeing regarding the Philippines and China. I also want to respond to some feedback and talk about my friend who said I should use less ums and ahs when I speak. My main goal of this channel is to be as honest and authentic as possible. I think that's the best thing I can offer. I'm accused of being, spreading my narrative. I'm accused of being a 5D troll supporting Taiwanese independence. I'm accused of being part of the CCP. My main thing is to be as honest as possible. I think that's what aligns with me the most as a creator, and that's what helps me not burn out and keep having fun when I do this. I'm not trying to be the smartest in the room or be the fastest. So that's why I'm allowing myself to do the ums and ahs rather than, I can share guided meditations where I don't talk like that. And I try to speak more like, Obama, very deliberate pauses and silence, which can be empowering. But I want to be as honest as possible. That's my gig here. So I understand not everyone's going to like my content, and that's okay. I really advocate for an abundance mindset. Abundance mindset. Go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. Everyone has an audience. And look, guys, I figured out how to do this slideshow. Uh oh, not completely figured it out, as you can see that it's messing the video up a bit. Okay, here we go. Back to images. So you guys already saw the video. You saw that the Philippine boat approached the Chinese boat, and the Filipino boat was smaller with a camera crew, well, one cameraman. But it reminds me of past videos from years ago where, they would have a Western journalists on board as they go to provoke. And, this is very much propaganda. This is not a reflection of how the Chinese and the Philippines do trade. This is a bit of saber rattling for public consumption, for internal consumption of the citizens, and for perhaps even to show the international audience a certain narrative. And this image here is the original 11 dash line from the Republic of China, what is commonly known as Taiwan now. And this map was completely supported by the Americans at that time, I believe 1947. And what I'm trying to say is this picture that we're seeing about Philippines and China and this area, this entire South China Sea region. As you can see, it's full of contention and argument, and it's nothing that's going to be settled overnight, much like the China and India conflict, right? Where they're beating each other with sticks. And the soldiers that get injured, it's not funny at all. They get bandaged and carried, and there's again video footage of this drama, of this I mean, imagine being a soldier. You're up there in the Himalayas. My teacher says Himalayas, and it's just, ah, man, being a soldier, it just sucks no matter what side you're on. So before I go too much off topic and bother too many people with ums and ahs, I had an argument recently with a white supremacist type, the type of person who would say that the Chinese can't do anything right. The Chinese might have invented gunpowder, this, that, and the other, but the Chinese don't have the mind to fully utilize these things. And so there's this narrative. You've probably seen these videos. Chinese boats and Chinese men are eating up all the fish. And there's radars. Look at this swarm of Chinese boats going down to this coastline, like a swarm, a plague of locusts. And it reminds me of the Chinese Exclusion Act in America in the past, where the Chinese, they helped build the railroads, they did very brutal labor, and then they weren't allowed to stay in America effectively. And there were rumors, right? The Chinese, they are seducing our women or SAing our women, and they use opium. They're all smoking opium. And I heard from another citizen historian, not an academic one, in an ivory tower. She was saying that the Chinese fishermen were banned from fishing in the daytime, so they would purposely fish at midnight until dawn, when sunrise. And this, of course, was also seen as a nuisance. These Chinese warlocks fishing in the night. Why don't they fish in the day? Well, it's illegal. Um, so, this all goes to say that these conflicts that we see on TV, on the mainstream media, I can see how it affects people in real time. Asian diaspora, there's not much unity. There's a lot of suspicion and arguing. And then non-Asian people are watching and being like, "Oh, big bad China," and "Oh, innocent Philippines," and Taiwan, land of utopian democracy, number one democracy in Asia, Taiwan. My friend used to argue with me about Taiwan, and one day he was like, "Wait, Taiwan is the Republic of China? I didn't even know that. There was a civil war? I didn't even know that." But I was so convinced that I was on the right side because the TV and the magazines and the journalists, they're all telling me Taiwan number one, and China's Three Gorges Dam. We should target it because that's the moral thing to do. Uh, the Chinese, they need regime change by any means necessary, brother. So, the people who tell me to be quiet because I've lost faith in Western academic consensus or journalism, it doesn't mean I want these institutions to fall and crumble. I want the best for these journalists and academics, but I just want them to be more honest. And I think part of there's restrictions. They might not be able to be honest for a variety of reasons. But yeah, you should demand better from your journalists, politicians, and media because the truth is good for you. A rising China will create legitimate competition between the Chinese state and the Western powers. And this will create, in my belief, this will create benefits for the everyday citizen. I believe even if you're a multimillionaire, you're still just a peasant, a peon in this societal hierarchy, this modern world that we find ourselves born into. Did we choose the parents that we have? That's a spiritual idea. Some souls choose their parents. Did you choose to be raised by narcissists who don't care about you? Other than, or, anyways, I'm not going to go there. Everyone thinks they should have free speech until they are triggered. China censors topics overtly, USA censors topics covertly. You're now seeing people make jokes. Palantir credit score minus 1,000. Chinese social credit score plus 1,000, depending on who you're glazing. And if you try to be neutral, if you live in the gray zone, you will be called a turncoat, a coon, this, that, and the other. You will be told to pick a side. And I advocate for people to not rush and pick a side. It's okay to rest in the unknown. A large part of meditation is accepting uncertainty. No one knows when their last day of being alive as a human being is. No one knows. Some people do a lot of meditation and tantric practices, and they know for themselves, but that's not something you can really prove, you know, until you pass. But yeah, things are really changing. You can see based on the comments on social media. People are understanding that there is no dystopian Chinese social credit system. It's a system more akin to the Western credit score system. If you have a lot of debts, banks are not going to want to give you more money. Banks are not in the business of losing money. The house always wins. Social media owners, they all have a certain cultural goal. Every social media platform has its own algorithm and its own way of shepherding people and echo chambers. Some social media platforms will purposely show you opposing views to create rage or dissent. Some social media platforms shield you more from opposing opinions. Um, and this goes back to why I wanted to share this image of myself being accused of being working for the Chinese Communist Party. This image here, it's not based on anything. This is just someone online who is listening to us talk online in these debate spaces and making a lot of assumptions or doxing. So I'm only sharing this to show you that we live in a time of information warfare. And you could argue it's more dangerous to speak up. I also heard recently that the more people speak up, the less dangerous it becomes. And I do believe as a human race, I'm not saying as a Chinese person, as a paper Canadian, as a Taiwanese, I'm not kanging for any one side. I'm saying as a human race, we need to demand more from our politicians, from our journalists, from our media. And we all need to talk more to avoid human catastrophe. Um, as a father, obviously, World War III scares me. And some people argue we're already in that. And you can see behind me, I'm sleeping on the ground because I like that. That's part of the Japanese influence on Taiwan. The Japanese influenced Taiwan greatly. My grandparents grew up during Japanese rule and Japanese education in Taiwan, Republic of China. And Taiwan had Dutch influences as well from Dutch colonialism. And then Koshinga came and kicked them out. So Taiwan is it's a very interesting place to be born in. Did my soul choose to be born in Taiwan? I don't know. That's a different question. Last night, I got called spiritually autistic because I started sharing facts about the Medicine Buddha. Medicine Buddha has some interesting vows. Like one of his vows is if a woman wants, they can choose to be a male in their next lifetime. And I think that's Medicine Buddha recognizing that women face unique challenges on this earth that men don't face. And I certainly agree that men are facing some challenges now that their fathers and grandfathers didn't have to face. But I also agree that in many ways, women are more vulnerable. But this can go on, and I can hear arguments from both sides here on men and women. Yeah, the gender wars, the race wars, the culture wars, they're really increasing. And as a meditation teacher, I hope it decreases. And that's really the message of this video is to first show you the Filipino China conflict. It's not that simple. It's not black and white. And this idea that Chinese fishermen are eating up all the fish, it's just illogical. China doesn't want to clear cut the ocean, if you know what I mean. I would hope my Chinese people are smart enough to not destroy an ocean. They know how to keep it going, the circle of life, regeneration, rejuvenation, not overfishing. I believe that's the truth because the supply is continuing. I believe what the media is saying is part of the very expensive campaign to smear China and to right, everything China does is at what cost. 1.6 billion yearly to smear China. That's only the tip of the iceberg. That's just what's on public record that we can see. These NGOs, these Washington can print unlimited money to smear China. And I don't think it's in our interest to be lied about China. As a Taiwanese, as a Canadian, I'm anti-war. I want Canada to prosper. I want Taiwan to prosper. I want China to prosper. I would like America to um, review its foreign policy and focus more on its citizens and prosper. But sometimes that's why people say left wing, right wing. It's all part of the same machine because foreign policy is probably the hardest thing to change. So, with that, my final message here I wrote down, it's more important to cultivate mind, body, spirit than be a culture warrior. Than online these days, people are so critical. They'll even look at who you're following. Oh, you follow this person, so that must mean X. Lots of assumptions. And when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And so, my message is to make yourself really healthy in mind, body, and spirit. If you believe you have a soul, if you don't, that's fine. Just focus on your mind and body. And yeah, make yourself really healthy, especially mentally. It's easy to make yourself physically healthy. It's much easy to lose weight, get fit. Um, Obviously, that's a challenge. That's a big challenge for some people. Don't at me, but to really cultivate consciousness and expand consciousness, expand mind, increase patience, increase willpower, increase your ability to see things from multiple perspectives at once without getting triggered, developing metacognition. These things take much more patience than building muscle or burning fat. With that, I wish you all the best. Namo Bhagavate Vaishya Guru Vaituria Praparachaya Tathagataya Arhate Samyak Sampadaya Taryata Om Vaishya 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 Samutkate Svaha.